Hello again everybody and welcome back to Coding with Kenny G. Now we're at episode 4 and we're finishing up the formation creator. So we have a few things to do now. Let's check our list. So we have to create a scriptable object script. This is a new script type that we're going to use, which is great for storing data as persistent data in Unity. So back in Unity, I like to create a folder inside the Unity that is called Scriptable Objects, and inside there we're going to create a script called formation. So this script is actually a scriptable object script. So when we open it, instead of deriving from mono behavior, we are now deriving from scriptable object. And I can show you what this looks like. So we can, above the class itself, we can create an attribute called create asset menu, open the brackets, and you write string, or rather file name equals new formation, and the menu name is something cool. We're going to see that when you right click in inspector in the assets database, you can create a new scriptable object from there. I'm just going to show you for now. Formation / new. And this one is going to be empty for now, but we'll add something to it. But I'll just show you. Since we created this thing here, the create asset menu, we now have it available in the create formation new, and this is an actual persistent object that will hold variables over here. So this could be the Copenhagen 11 by 11 formation, right? That was just a show. I'm just gonna delete it now. Inside our scripts folder, we're going to create one more file similar to enums, which is called structs. structs, structs. This is also going to be a sort of a container file for many smaller structs, which are just small data containers. So inside this script, we can just delete everything. Because we don't care about this stuff, we're just going to write outside. And then we do have to save some data. So our formation holds the tile index positions and actor type to spawn an actor on. So which position we should spawn a certain actor type on. And we need something to hold this data. So that's why we're going to create this formation spawn data, which is a small struct. So inside the structs file, public structs or struct formation spawn position data. And it's just going to hold two variables, and it's going to be public vector2 int tile index and public actor type. For structs, we need to do something for them to be visible for you to edit in the inspector. So we need to, over the struct itself, we need to write attribute, that's right, which is called system.serializable. What this does is that these public fields will then be editable in the inspector. Cool, and then we can add that as a public field inside the formation. So public formation spawn position data. Or rather, in our case, we actually want a list of these, because each tile that we're just gonna add the tiles that we're gonna actually spawn an actor on. But we also need to know which actor type, so we need to know both of these things. That's why we put them in a struct. So instead we write public list of type formation spawn position data, and what shall we call this? Spawn position data equals new list. There we go. We can go back to Unity now, and just to show, we can now create a new formation test, and inside here we now see a list, the spawns positions data list, and we then get the elements. This will be the spawn position of tile index, right? And which actor type to spawn on that position. But we are not going to create this manually. You can though. You could create 34 of these and sit and manually place every actor into it. But that's why we made this entire system, because we're going to save the thing that we are creating at runtime in our little level design editor. Actually, it's a runtime program, and not in the editor, but that works fine. And to me it was practical to make it this way instead of making a new custom editor, because that can be quite hairy to sit in code. You have to do a lot of manual stuff if you're gonna create custom editors. So I just found this solution in just to create this stuff directly at runtime and save it as this file type in your assets database, to be very practical. So that's the plan. So now we actually created the data structure here. We can just delete this test object again, because we're going to create these guys from script. So in the assets folder here, I'm just going to create a new folder, and I'm going to call it data, because it's going to hold like different types of data. These formation objects are data, and inside there we're going to create a new folder called formations. There we go. And now we're talking to what's going to happen when we press the save button. There are a few things that need to happen. So first of all, when I click save, I want a pop-up window to come here, where we can write in a save path, or actually the file name of the formation we're creating, and then apply, save, or cancel. So there's a little bit of there. But in our UI, we can create a new UI panel. It's gonna, it went as a child under, yeah, you can just write it, make it as a child under the canvas itself. And this guy is gonna be centered. If we just go to the scene view, I'm just gonna make it as a sort of a pop-up window where I just gonna make something rudimentary here. 1100 by 350, 500. So we have some space. This is gonna be our pop-up panel. So save pop-up panel. Cool. And this guy is going to display this when we press save. So, but we can set up what needs to be in here as like the gist of it at least. Inside the save pop-up panel, we need 2 buttons. So this guy can be anchored lower left, and this is going to be the cancel button. And duplicate, and this can be the lower right, and we can just stretch them out a little bit, maybe 300 by 110, something like that. And then we're gonna write inside the text field cancel. Just gonna give it a red color because it means cancel. And this is gonna be the apply save button. So this is the button in the lower right. And we can also give that a width of 300 and 110 height. And then I go back here. I pretty much always do this, like I hold the Alt key, then you'll position it correctly. There we go. And we need to write in the text field, apply save. And I select the save pop-up panel and then go to UI and text. This is going to be our help text. And I'm going to position that at the very top and then offset its position a little bit downwards, something like that. And here we're going to write I think I'm going to put the help text through code. But it's gonna say something like save the formation. Yeah, we need to let it also stretch out in width. There we go. Then offset its height a little bit. Just have a little look at this one. I think we're gonna give it a little bit more height. Swoop. And we can put the text in the middle. So it's gonna be something like save the formation to assets slash data slash formation slash your name here. It's gonna be something in the gist of that. And then select the save pop-up panel, and then I'm gonna add an input field, text message pro. Whoa, there we go. This guy can also stretch out its entire width and be 100 height. And both the placeholder and the text can be centered. Both of these items, that is, under the input field, and also put in the middle of the alignment here, so it's in the middle of there. So when I press play, this component accepts text. We need to increase the size of that text as well. The text component can be probably 20. It's probably fine. Let's see. Cool. Just gonna increase it to 24, and this placeholder, just so it's easier to see, gonna increase that to 20 as well. Okay, so this is the pop-up panel. One thing that you notice is that when I try to click the panel here, in the back right there came a little piece, because our application is still taking in input from the camera controller while I'm in this UI. So that was something that I wrote up on the list that we can fix. We can turn off input when this guy is visible. So we're gonna fix that a little bit later. But for now, when we press the save button, we're just gonna enable, we're gonna tell the formation creator that the save button was clicked. So we can create a little function for that. So in the formation creator, we go to public functions and we're gonna make an inspector function. So public void inspector on save button clicked. There we go. And I'm gonna do something that I don't normally do, but this is a developer tool, so we're gonna let this script handle its own UI as well, because it's not too much anyway. So it's yeah, it's gonna handle its own UI. In order to do that, we need to the formation creator script is gonna handle the activation and deactivation of the pop-up panel. So we're gonna just say have a public variable to that component. So public game object save pop-up panel. I'm gonna tooltip it as the pop-up panel that shows up when you press the save button in UI. Cool. And when we click the on save button, then we should display this guy. So we're gonna say save pop-up panel dot set active true. Boom. And we can just real quickly wire this up. So in the Unity, in the save buttons on click event, we're gonna drag in the formation creator, and we're gonna call the inspector on save button clicked from there, and we're gonna disable this in our inspector outside of play mode. There we go. And when I press save, oh yeah, I forgot to assign, of course, the reference to the save pop-up panel inside the formation creator object. There we go. So press save, boom, it shows up. I think this should also be a fill color, because it has a little bit of alpha, so it's a little bit of see-through. This should be opaque, so we're just gonna fully make it opaque, and we can make it yeah, a little bit darker color. There we go. Okay. For the cancel button, we actually need to wire this into our formation creator as well, because we need to block the input of the camera camera controller based on if this UI is open or not. And we're gonna create that function now. So in the camera controller, we're gonna check like early in update here before we're doing anything of this checking for hovered tiles and selecting a tile. We're just gonna have a bool there that says are we allowed to handle input now or not. So this can be a bool. This can be a private bool. Private bool is tile selection input active, and we're going to default that to true. And in our update, we're gonna all the way at the top before everything, we're just gonna say if not is tile selection input active, then we're gonna return. So we're just gonna jump out of the update before we even process any checking for hovering or tile selection. And this will not screw with any of our other code, like for example the movement of the camera, which is fine. That we could also maybe block that, but yeah, we can look at that later. But this is the important bit at least. And now an outside script needs to be able to tell the camera, hey, stop processing this tile selection input right now. So there's a few things that need to happen there. The camera controller is only gonna be one guy, so this could be a singleton again. You see, singletons are quite often practical, but it means that other scripts need to know that there exists something called a camera controller, which they shouldn't really know about. Ideally, this should be like events. So you kind of try to deplug this structure. But we're gonna do the singleton for a solution for this one, because we haven't gotten so far into development that this becomes an issue yet. So public static camera controller instance, and then we need to actually assign the singleton pattern in the awake function. So if instance is null, then instance equals this. If instance is not equal to this, then we have to destroy this game object. There we go. Unity's simple single pattern, singleton pattern. And then we're gonna have to create a public function in the bottom here where we are going to set this. So public void set is tile selection enabled, and we're gonna write bool state, and our variable was called is tile selection input active. Is tile selection input active equals state. So then after we've done that in the formation creator, when we have pressed the save button, we can tell the camera controller dot instance dot set is tile selection enabled false. We can test it right now to see if I'm able to hover and select the tile and all that while the save pop-up is enabled. See, now I can hover I press save and I try to hover these tiles and it does not work. So that's good. It works as expected. So inside our formation creator, then we have to do something. We're gonna create a public void inspector on cancel save button clicked. Then we're just gonna set the save popup panel.set active to false, and we're gonna enable the tile selection in camera controller. So camera controller dot instance dot set is tile selection enabled true. Let's test it. Save, cancel. Of course we need to wire this up. So cancel button needs to have an on-click event. We're going to drag in the formation creator, and formation creator on cancel save button clicked. There we go. Good. So stuff is working there. Right. So let's get back to yeah. I will end the episode here because we're a little bit out of time. But next episode we will finish up saving this formation into a scriptable object. So I'll see you in the next episode.